it is Marissa here with Little House Living. Today I wanted to take you with me as I am putting away some stuff in long-term food storage. I will be honest, I have not done the Mylar bag oxygen absorber thing very much before. We have just kind of been a eat from the pantry type of family and replenish as needed. But I think that in 2020 it caught a lot of us off guard. I'm not sure. I'm sure it was similar where you guys live, but where we live here, it was very difficult to get really any type of halfway decent food. It seemed like the stuff that was on the grocery store shelves was mostly boxed and like prepackaged products, stuff that we don't typically buy. And since our family is gluten-free, we had a really hard time finding the things that we needed, especially like the fruits and vegetables before our gardens started producing that year. So it was a really difficult time, and it definitely made us think about how we want to approach these types of things in the future. And so I wanted to say that because I don't want you to think that this video is us prepping for the apocalypse or something like really out there. This is just for food security in the event that something would happen again, which would make it really difficult to get some of the things that we rely on and that we use on a regular basis. So I wanted to show you this video because I've seen a lot of videos on putting away long-term food storage and prepping, but I haven't seen one specifically on gluten-free grains that you can store. And when I was doing my research and then deciding that what we were going to put away, it was kind of hard to find that information out there, and it's hard to make my brain think, okay, this is what our family should be storing, or what our family will actually eat, and what can store long term. So I wanted to just start this video off by making that example that this isn't because we're preparing for the end of the world, which, you know, we believe could come at any time, but that doesn't mean it's going to right now. This is just, we happen to have a little bit extra at this time, and so we decided that we were going to put that into some of these grains and some of the other things that I'll be showing you, and just put them away for another time where we might need them and we might not be able to get them, or might not have the funds or the resources to be able to get them. So come along with me. I'm going to show you what I'm packaging up today, the equipment that I'm using to package it up, and then I will show you the difference between what I'm putting away and what I keep in my pantry. Okay guys, I am going to show you my big mess. This is my kitchen today. I don't want to show you the floor, it's pretty bad. So I am working on putting away some long-term storage stuff today, and like I've mentioned, our family is gluten-free for the most part. Some of us will eat some non-gluten-free snacks, but I have pretty bad celiac disease, so I can't have a lot of gluten stuff just in the house in general. And anyway, so I'm going to show you what I'm using today and kind of what's going on here. So this is my heat sealer, and it came with my freeze dryer. Not sure why my kitchen stuff is all huge mess today. You can get a different heat sealer. You don't have to have this particular one. All it does is seal the top of the Mylar bags. I have seen people use an iron. There's different ways of doing this. This just came with what I have, so I use it, and it seems to work pretty good. My vacuum sealer is hanging out back here. I don't need that at the moment, but I will need it to vacuum seal any of the oxygen absorbers that I'm not using today. So you can see that I've been working on stuff. I've got these bags already done and sealed. This is a gallon size Mylar bag, and I felt like that was better for us for the grains versus the smaller bags. So these ones are already sealed, and then these just have the grain in them. They don't have the oxygen absorber yet, and they're not sealed. So I'm working on those. And then I have a couple containers back here of some whole grains that I'll be keeping out on the shelf. And I'll show you how I store those in just a little bit too. So this is not long-term storage. This is. So, okay, let me show you what I'm doing here today and which grains I have out that I'm working on. So the first one that I'm working on right now, and I almost emptied this bag. This was a 50-pound bag of, oh, you're going to see my floor anyway. It's a 50-pound bag of white whole sorghum. We use a lot of sorghum in our gluten-free baking. And now that I have a grain mill, I can grind this myself. So when you're storing grains for long term, you want to make sure that it's the whole grain and not the flour version, because that does not last as long. So you can see there's a little bit left in the bag, but I've already packaged up most of the 50-pound bag. Let's see, we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 gallon bags, plus this big container is what the bag, 50-pound bag made. So that is quite a bit. Okay, so moving on, I've got a couple other things here. Now this is brown rice. I guess we can't see that. This is brown rice, and this is not for long-term storage. I just bought it because since I have a grain mill now, and we use a lot of brown rice flour, I'm gonna go ahead and grind that myself. And so that was one of the things I needed to put in my pantry storage here. So brown rice products do not store very long. They have more oils on them, and it should be something that's used up within a year. So anyway, I only got a 25-pound bag of the brown rice, and we will just grind that up and use it now. It's not for storage, but I do have 2 25-pound bags of white rice that is going to be next after I finish working on the sorghum. White rice is another grain that we use a ton of. We either eat it whole, of course, in meals like stir fry and all kinds of other things, or we can grind it and use it as a flour in our recipes too. So that is another good whole grain. Something that I didn't get this time is millet. That would be another good whole grain that's gluten-free that you could store. We don't use a lot of that. My flour blend tends to be the sorghum and either brown and white rice or just white rice. So that's just not something we use. So it's not something that I want to store. Another thing that you could store is quinoa. We don't tend to eat that just cooked up. I don't know why my kids don't like it. But I'm not going to store that because we won't eat it. So there's no point in keeping it. One thing that I did buy though was I wanted to have some pasta in some long-term storage. However, we mostly buy brown rice pasta. So I knew that wouldn't be good. So I went ahead and I got, this is a quinoa pasta. And I can buy it in this 5-pound quantity like this. And I think what I'll do is, I have these smaller size Mylar bags. They don't hold a whole lot, but I think that one should hold one of these. And so I'll put 1 pound of pasta in one of these bags and seal it up. My family doesn't seem to mind the quinoa pasta, even though they don't like to eat straight up quinoa. And the only ingredients in this are quinoa and white rice, which stores. So I thought that this will be a good long-term storage item because it doesn't have the brown rice in it. So we'll just stick with the brown rice pasta for our regular pantry storage, and this is the stuff that I will put away for another time. Okay, another thing that we're going to be putting away here is these potato flakes. I don't know about you, but I like these. We have a hard time going through potatoes before they go bad, and so I do keep some on hand for like roasted potatoes. But for mashed potatoes, when you are busy and in a hurry, these are lovely, and we can get organic ones. There's no other ingredients except for potatoes. And since these are already dehydrated, freeze-dried, whatever, we can go ahead and just package those up. And I already have these in the pantry because it's something that we use often, but this bag, this is a 4-pound bag. I specifically got this one to put away. So we'll probably put those in the smaller bags too, because you don't need a ton of it at once, and I don't really want to use that in the gallon size bags. So a couple other things that we use for the sealing this stuff up for long term is, like I mentioned, the Mylar bags. There's different thicknesses that you can get, and I can link some of those down below, but I have this size. I'm still using up these that came with my freeze dryer. This size bag is pretty small for most of the things that we put in it. And then I bought some of this. These are gallon size bags, and that is what I'm putting the grains in them in. I don't feel like they're that big, especially like if you're going to open something, you might as well make it worth your while. So I really like those so far, so I'll link that down below too. I just got these on Amazon. And then I'm also still using the oxygen absorbers that came with my freeze dryer, but I did buy another pack of these too, because these are the size that you need for these smaller bags. So in the bigger bags, I have to put 2 of them, or I can put a larger size in those. So I did order a larger size, so we have those, but I've been trying to use these up because they came with my freeze dryer. So these come in, they're all different depending on which ones you order. So inside this box, there's 50 of them, but there's 10 in a little packet. So you take this out, you open this bag up, and you take them out, and I like to have, you know, everything ready that I'm gonna do. So I only have 4 bags filled here right now. Since there's 10 in here, I'm gonna go ahead and fill 10 bags before I open this up. And then I will stick one of these in each of them, and then I'm gonna bring it over here to the heat press and seal the bags, and then I won't have to worry about putting these away. Once I get to the end of my bags and I don't have a full 10 that I need to put these oxygen absorbers in, I'll put in what I need, and then I'll take the rest and I will put them in a vacuum sealed bag and then just seal them back shut. Okay, I'm going to show you my mess. I am not quite done for the day. I cannot find my bag of whole corn, but I know it's here somewhere, so I haven't finished sealing up every bag. But this is what came of I had 50 pounds of rice, I had 50 pounds of sorghum, I had 4 pounds of potato flakes, and I had 5 pounds of quinoa pasta. And I apologize if it's super loud right now. I am running the vacuum on the floor because I made a huge mess. But I'm pretty happy with the results. I filled these bags quite full. So this is a ton of food storage for us. So we are going to put this all away in a long-term storage area and have it in case we would need it. Okay, I just wanted to bring you in my pantry quickly and show you the difference between the stuff that we're storing for long term and the stuff that is just in our working pantry. So I've been using these containers. I have things in glass jars as well, but this is kind of for the stuff that the kids help me with. It doesn't break because it's plastic and it's got handles, so they're super easy to grab off the shelf. But this shelf is just the kids' snacks, and so none of this stuff, I mean, technically the oat bars could be stored long term. This is freeze-dried oatmeal, and so I could do that, but we're just eating that as a snack, so I haven't put any of that away. So this is just kind of their little snacky things. This isn't stuff that we would store long term. And then we're gonna move up to this shelf. Now I showed you the sorghum is something that I did put in the long-term storage, but obviously we need it now also to use to grind up and use as flour in our recipes. So I do need a little bit of that out. So I have a big container full. This is the brown rice that I just put away. This cannot be stored long term because of the oils in it. So it lasts maybe 6 months to a year. So it needs used up within that time frame. I have cornmeal on the shelf, and I forgot to show you, I also did get a bag of whole corn that I'm putting away for longer term storage. Like I said, the whole grains store better than the flours, so that is why I got the whole corn instead of the cornmeal, and I can just grind it the same in the grain grinder. But this we keep out in the pantry. Sunflower seeds I keep in the pantry, and I've got a lot of grief for keeping them in my pantry instead of in the freezer or something, but we are a no nut household, so we go through sunflower seeds like crazy. So this will be gone within the month, so I am not worried about keeping it in the pantry. But sunflower seeds are not good for long-term storage because they have too much oil. Salt we keep on the shelf. I could put some bags away for long-term storage, but it's just salt. It's not gonna do anything even if I leave it out. So I just keep it in here instead. Like I said, I do have some potato flakes out on the shelf because we're using them. This is my kids' cereal mixture that they have sometimes for breakfast. This is my gluten-free flour blend. I keep it mixed up and on the shelf. And like I've said a couple times, I don't store the flours long term, just the whole grains. So this is already ready to go. Dried mangoes, I suppose we could store for long term, but we are not really doing the dried stuff for long term, only the freeze dried, and these are just dried. So that's just a snack on the shelf, and these are just some chips. And then up here is where I have my brown rice pastas. I have a couple different kinds right now, which we don't normally have. We have maybe 1 or 2 kinds, but I'm all stocked up. So brown rice is the same. Brown rice pasta is the same as brown rice. You don't want to do it for long-term storage, but we eat it. So this is in our working pantry. And then I have this thing of Rice Krispies that I don't know what I'm gonna do with yet. So I guess that's hanging out here. And then next to this, I do have some freeze-dried broccoli. We do have some of this put away in a long-term storage, but I also keep it on the shelf because we've been using it as well. It reconstitutes really super good. So these are some of the things that I have in my pantry, and even though I get them in bulk, we're not putting them away for long-term storage. Like I said, some of them, like this and this, we could, but I need some out on the shelf too, just for everyday use. So I just wanted to show you what that looked like and kind of what the difference is for some of the stuff that we buy in bulk. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video today and maybe it gave you some ideas of what you can store. I know that there's other gluten-free grains out there that maybe your family eats more of that we don't, that would make sense for your long-term storage. But I just wanted to reiterate that Our family is doing this at this time because it seems prudent in this day and age to be a little bit more prepared and to have some of these things that we eat just in case there comes another incident where we can't get them, or we can't afford them, or the resources are just not available to us. So that is why our family is doing some of this long-term food storage right now. I also believe that this is just a very, very small piece of long-term food storage. What is more important to our family is to know how to preserve our own food, like from canning. That can be done even if there's not any electricity. Right now we've been doing a lot of freeze drying. Dehydrating is also very good. And then the other huge piece to the puzzle for long-term food storage is not actual storage at all. It is being able to grow a garden, having the seeds to be able to grow a garden, and being able to save seeds if you should need them for another year. I think that we all know that seeds, especially the most popular one, are kind of difficult to get if you don't pre-order them way ahead of time now, since gardening has become so popular in the last couple of years, which I think is awesome, but also makes life a little bit more difficult. So gardening is a huge part of our long-term food storage plan. Even though it's not technically food storage, it's our ability to be able to produce fresh fruits and vegetables, and that makes up the majority of our diet. The grains, like you saw here today, are only a very small part of our diet. So for our family, it's more important to be able to continually produce and preserve fruits and vegetables, since that is the majority of what we eat. And then proteins are, of course, important too. We have a lot in the freezer, and we do know how to can them should that need arise too. I don't typically keep canned meats on my shelf just because it's something I don't have time to do, but I could if I needed to. But one of the things that we're doing in terms of proteins is actually just having them running around in our backyard. We don't have to have any storage to keep the meat. It just is in its pen in the backyard, and if we'd ever need it and couldn't get any from the store, then we have it right back there. And right now we're just keeping things that we could process ourselves, so we don't have any cows here. We do have friends that are raising a cow for us at the moment, and they have the facility and the means to be able to do that, whereas we have the means to be able to do smaller animals in a smaller scale. So there's definitely barter things that could be worked out too. I feel like this is maybe going into another video territory, and it's getting kind of long, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut myself off here. But like I said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that it was helpful for you. I have been trying to make videos every week, so if you want to subscribe, you can do that, and I will keep trying to keep this rolling. If you have any video ideas that you want me to do, just make sure you comment, or you could email me anytime, and I will see what I can put together for you. Thanks for watching today.